to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't had to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to show you, make sure that you leave them leaking. He said,
I'ma hold you down when problems pop up.
how you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said,
Don't you want the Benz vertible with the top gun?
Yeah.
Stop, bitch, you get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you know Ron.
who the plug from by the block up?
I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trips to the Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up in commas, be honest, he seen decent dope.
I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. Fat, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kinda slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble.
DC got a house and mama is living
He
good.
said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try and play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us support our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than them cars when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me.
I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it.
Nah, you could dead it.
What you saying? I can't win?
Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again.
I ain't had to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't had to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, but we been getting fucked up to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, and they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights. Patting me down, you got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my fight. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And Your Honor, why you gave our homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's tripe, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. As Trayvon, Mike Brown, a Cock Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't had to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't had to die to meet the devil. I ain't had to die to meet the devil. Angels.
I.S.U.P.K 53rd Annual Lord Passover.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is the I.S.U.P.K down in Florida. I'm Captain 10,000 Shemoyalo. We here to let you know the 53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida. It's going down in South Florida,
Friday, April 15th, 2022.
The lamb, the wine, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, understand, good music, good weather, palm trees, the whole nine.
This is going to be glorious. Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
April 15th and the 16th. Don't just book for the 15th. Book for the 15th and the 16th.
It's going down Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
Moses told Pharaoh we need 3 days to be able to go out into the wilderness and serve our power the way he commanded. You're going to have to get that off with your boss, with your slave master. So make sure you in the building. Cocoa Beach, Florida, April 15th to 16th, 2022. It's going down. We'll see y'all there. Shalom.
144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000. 144,000. I'm just trying to. All right, let's get started. Shalom, Israel. Yahba Shemel Shabrakatham. Shalom, Canada. All right, this is I.S.U.P.K. Canada, No Cowards Canada YouTube page. All right, you can check us out on I.S.U.P.K. Canada Facebook. Shalom, Yahba Shemel Shabrakatham to all the brothers. And Shalom, Yahweh Shemal, Athan Bashim Yahshai, all the sisters, and Priest and Officer Shar Yawan under Commanding General YAHANNA. And we are the I.S.U.P.K, which was started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. All right. This is Tuesday night brotherhood class. Tuesday night brotherhood class, we're teaching brotherhood, which is synonymous with sisterhood, to our people being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. Those who descend from slavery, the transatlantic slavery, those who are children of the oppressed people, the conquered people, who don't know their language, don't know their nationality, don't know their heritage, their culture. Those people who have had all those things stripped away from them. All right, like it says in the book of Jeremiah, I believe chapter 14, says, my people shall discontinue from their heritage. They won't know who they are anymore. There's a people who go around calling themselves Jamaican, Haitian, West Indian, Caribbean, African American, Hispanic, Latino, Native Indian, indigenous peoples. There's a people who don't know their nationality, don't know their culture, don't know their heritage, where they come from. And those people are Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right? That is what we're teaching our people brotherhood. We're teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans brotherhood. Teaching our people how to come together and treat each other. How to fix the family unit, the family structure. How important it is for our nation to gather together, to come together and serve our King, who the world calls Christ. What this would do for us as a people. The nation that we could build as a people, if we would become moral, if we would follow our King Christ and do what it is he says. Christ said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I am not sent but unto Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, those that are lost, those that don't know their identity, those who are in need of a physician. That's what this class is for. That's what this class is about. It's all about giving life to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And that's what we do every Tuesday. All right. We also got a Monday night history class taught by Officer Zabadia. We got a Wednesday law class taught by Officer Adiyar. We got a Friday Lashawan Kwadash class where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans can learn their language, learn the Hebrew, learn their original language, the language of their ancestors. Saturday, we got a Sabbath service class. Make sure you tune into that, where you can come in and learn the Bible, Learn it from beginning to end. Learn how to read the Hebrew. Learn how to pray in the Hebrew. How we are to pray to the Most High, our Father. All right. And then we got a scripture breakdown class every Saturday night. All right. If you're a brother or sister being Black, Hispanic, or Native American, and you're interested in joining the school, you're a brother or sister in Canada, make sure you tune in to that Saturday night scripture breakdown class. All right. It is mandatory for you to attend if you are interested in joining the school. All right. So again, tonight is Tuesday night brotherhood class. We got schools all over the world teaching brotherhood to our people. Schools out in Jamaica, in the UK, all over America. School in Mexico. All right. North and South Central America. We got schools all over giving life to our people. All right. Something that we've lost, something that we don't have. In the book of Ezekiel, it says, can these dry bones live? Can Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are just walking around dead, walking around hooked on drugs, walking around hooked on cigarettes, families destroyed, alcoholics, drunkards, sisters going around prostituting themselves, selling their bodies for money. Can these dry bones live? Can these people who live in every ghetto, barrio, and reservation live, have life, have something better than what it is they have today? Ezekiel said, surely they can live. Got to prophesy to these dry bones. Give them the breath of life. Give them these laws, statutes, and commandments. Give them something that will change them. Give them something that will give them something better. Give them something to look forward to. All right. So we're going to get into that. We teach this every Tuesday night. All right. We got an article we're going to get into, a couple articles. We'll see how we do with the time. All right. If you want to come to the Lord's Passover, we got a link. I got a link posted in the comments. All right. Pay your $200 fee, $200 entry fee. All right. Today, this year's Lord's Passover is going to be in Cocoa Beach, Florida. All right. So any travel arrangements you need to make sure you make them. All right. Book a hotel, your flight. All right. The Lord's Passover is a glorious thing. It is an extremely important high holy day for every Black, Hispanic, and Native American to keep. And this year it will be in Cocoa Beach, Florida. All right. If you're in the school, get a hold of your camp leader. All right. If you're in Canada, get a hold of Officer 5000 Aban. All right. Make sure you do whatever it is you can to get down there. All right. Very important high holy day for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. And understanding what happened in Egypt. You can understand what happened in Egypt. You can understand what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need to do today. Our salvation is going to be glorious coming out of this place. This is the land of our oppressor. You got Native Indians living on every reservation where they can't get clean drinking water. They turn their tap on and all they smell is fuel. You got Blacks living in every ghetto across North and South Central America. Hispanics are living in the barrios all throughout North and South Central America. Hispanics trying to get across the border to have a better life, trying to get into the America, trying to get to the United States. They're being locked up in cages like they're animals or savages. Locked up in cages because the people they're looking for help for, the people they're looking to for salvation, hate them. All right. And what we need to get out of this place is we need these laws, statutes, and commandments. We need this Bible. We need the wisdom and knowledge of our ancestors to fight off these people that are trying to destroy us. Right? You can go to the book of Lamentations. It says, my people look to a people who cannot save them. There's no salvation following this so-called white man. There's no salvation following the European man and his ways. You understand? This February 14th coming up is Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day. Getting ready to buy their girls some chocolates and flowers. They're booking their hotels and their motels so that they can get their gift to that woman so they can lay down with that sister. They can do whatever sexual deviant acts is in their mind so that they can just use and abuse a sister and throw her away when they're done with her. Buying chocolates so that they can get some. Buying flowers for their wife to keep her mouth shut. This is what our people are getting ready to do. Following their oppressor. Following this European man and his ways. What does Valentine's Day have to do with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? That's a question you should ask yourself. What was the religion of your ancestors? What was the custom of your ancestors? Did your ancestors celebrate Valentine's Day? Your oppressor would have you believe that you're a black man living in Canada and your oppressor saved you. Your oppressor gave you Christianity and he saved your life. If it wasn't for the so-called white man, you wouldn't know or bow down to that white Jesus. You wouldn't be going to church every Sunday crying out, Jesus, Jesus. Getting on your knees, praying at that pulpit for that white Jesus to save you. For that white Jesus to fix your family. For that white Jesus to get your wife off drugs. For that white Jesus to bring your family together. To make your family stop fighting. Pray to that white Jesus for that uncle to stop molesting you. Jesus, Jesus. That's what our people do. This oppressor would have you believe that you were swinging off or living in some mountains or living in the jungle, walking around half naked, swinging from tree to tree with no morals, no identity, an uneducated people, uncivilized, not knowing how to live. This is what your oppressor would have you believe. And that his ways of life are good for you. His ways of life are better for you. To kill the Indian and the child. To have you come to his residential schools and cut your braids off. To fix your hair up. So that you don't walk around with cornrows and braids. To shave your beard off. To wear a suit and tie. To celebrate Valentine's Day. Your oppressor would have you believe that his ways of life are good for you. And this is exactly what has Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in captivity today. You go to the book of Deuteronomy, Let's pull that up. I can share my screen. Salaki, 1 second. You go to the book of Deuteronomy. You go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. We'll start at verse 1. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1, and it says, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth." King Solomon prophesied in the book of Ecclesiastes. He said, "I see servants upon horses," loosely paraphrasing. "And I saw princes as servants."
Princesses is a 2006 movie directed by
You understand? King Solomon was saying, I see a people who are meant for rulership on the bottom of society. He understood the book of Genesis where it said, "The elder shall serve the younger. The nation of Esau shall serve Jacob." Jacob was meant for rulership. Jacob being the progenitor of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Jacob being the progenitor of the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And the so-called white man was meant to serve us. But King Solomon said he saw princes walking as servants. He saw blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, those people who are the salt of the earth, those people who are above all nations on the face of the earth. He saw them as servants walking upon the earth because they disobeyed their father. The Most High said, if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans would observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Most High would set us on high, above all nations on the face of the earth. The scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn. This whole world is in mourning today. This whole world is in a sad place. You have eagles going extinct. You got whales beaching themselves. You got all these different animals going extinct. The air is polluted. The vegetation is polluted. The water is polluted. The people are sad. The people are mourning. The people are fighting for things that they believe are just basic needs of humanity. The people are in mourning because a wicked race of people are in authority. The so-called white man is ruling the earth and he is destroying this place. He wasn't meant to rule the earth. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were. Jump down to verse 15. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day." The Most High told Moses to tell the children of Israel, They need to listen to me. They need to obey me. They're not allowed to steal. They're not allowed to lie. They're not allowed to be drug dealers. The daughters of Zions are not allowed to be whores, not allowed to prostitute themselves. The Most High told Moses to tell the children of Israel to be a righteous people, to be a people of high moral standards, a people of integrity, a people who don't murder, people who honor their mother and their father, a people who aren't greedy, people who forgive their brothers and their sisters, who are merciful to their brothers and sisters, who are long-suffering to their brothers and sisters. This is what the Most High wanted for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But he said, if you will not listen, if you will not be a people of integrity, he says that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And as you read through Deuteronomy 28, from 16 on down, you go on to read all the curses that would befall the children of Israel, that would befall Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Cursed shall be when thou comest out, and cursed shall be when thou goest in. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. The Lord shall smite thee with the consumption. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Keep going on down. All these different curses that would befall Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans for disobeying their power. And this is what we're dealing with in 2021, 2022. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they disobey their father. And because of that, we got to deal with all these curses. Because of that, we need to fix the Black household. We got to fix the nation of Israel. We got to give life to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We've lost as a people morals. What we've lost as a people is integrity. People who stand up and serve their God. Stand up and say, homosexuality is wrong. It's a disgusting thing for a man to lay down with a man, for a woman to lay down with a woman. These things are disgusting. Eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, that is disgusting. Being a drug dealer, that is disgusting. Being a thief, that is disgusting. These are things that we need to stop doing as a people. So I got an article which is on the psychology of the family. All right, I thought it was an interesting article to bring out because there's some basic concepts to the family structure that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have lost. Some basic things that we don't understand because we're a destroyed people. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. We got this article. And we're going to get into some of the importance of a family structure, of a family unit. And why Valentine's Day is such a destructive thing for our people. All right, Slaki, give me one moment. All right, Salakia. So we're going to get into this article. All right, there's an article on the psychology of a family. This was written by a woman named Sabri Roy. All right, she is a psychologist. All right, she has a background in psychology. And this is an article that she had wrote on the psychology of a family structure. Let me zoom in a bit because it's a little small. All right, should be a little better. I can share this link in the chat if you want to take a look at it for your own. I'll make sure I get the link in the chat before the class ends. All right, again, this is written by Sabri Roy. This is a psychologist who has done some studies on the structure of a family unit. All right, and this is what she had to say. She says, on the need to study family structures and family interactions in the psychology of family. The psychology of family. The psychology of family examines how and why we have families and close relationships, as also the dynamics of family interactions. The structure of families is based on evolutionary biology, anthropology, history, and sociology, and the roots of family systems are found within these disciplines. All right. So she goes on to list a couple things that are the foundations of a family structure, of a family unit. She says, however, studying family structure will show us how family systems have evolved over time, but may not directly tell us why family relationships develop in the first place. Family relationships are in turn studied with psychology, child development, and philosophy, and suggest why family forms the basis of our existence. Let me read that again. She says, family relationships are in turn studied with psychology, child development, and philosophy, and suggest why family forms the basis of our existence. She is saying family forms the basis of our existence. And this is why she has done some of these studies. She says the interdisciplinary approach to the study of family will have psychology at its core, as human evolutionary biology, sociology, philosophy have significant psychological components. To begin, an answer to the question on how family structures have developed, early evolutionary history and anthropology will suggest that the family, albeit in a different form, is the basis of human civilization. All right, when she is saying that this is the basis of human civilization, that means that the family structure is what supports a civilization. The most important thing to a civilization is the family structure. For myself, as a builder or in construction, a good way to visualize this is to think of building a house. When you build a house, the most important thing to that house is its foundation, what the house stands on. You read the book of Matthew, Christ said, a house that is built on sand will wash away. Right? But a house that is built on a rock, a house that is built on a solid foundation, it will withstand the storms. A foundation is very important. A foundation is everything. And this psychologist is saying that the family structure is everything to a civilization. Christ told Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that this kingdom doesn't come with observation. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Kingdom of heaven is for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to build. You just look at who lives in the land of Israel today. The scriptures say a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. There is a people living in Israel claiming to be Israelites, claiming to be Jews. Revelation 2:9 says, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan. They are the chief house of Satan. They are a wicked people living in our land, living in the land of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within you. It doesn't matter what land we live in. It matters what we do as a people. It matters how we conduct ourselves as a people. In Ezekiel, it says that I will be a little sanctuary to you while you're in your captivity. I'm paraphrasing. Be a little sanctuary to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The I.S.U.P.K is that sanctuary for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is a place where we truly love our people. Love our people according to God, not just with words, but with deeds. How we conduct ourselves as a people. We obey the Most High. We obey Christ. We do what it is He says. We don't make excuses. We love our people, and that is what we're ordered to do. Again, she says, this is the basis of human civilization. The most important thing, the foundation to a human civilization, is the family structure. Let's pull up the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 12, and we'll start at verse 48. Matthew 12 and 48 says, but he answered and said unto him that told him, this is Christ speaking, who is my mother and who are my brethren? Verse 49, and he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. Stretched forth his hand toward his disciples. This is Christ. This is our King. This is the man that every Black, Hispanic, and Native American claim to follow. He stretched forth his hand and touched his disciples and said, these are my, behold, this is my mother and my brethren. This is my family. Those who follow me. Those who do the will of my Father. All right. Shalom, Barak Yahweh, Yahbashim Shabrakatha.
Shalom, Yahbashim Shabrakatha.
God, we're just in the book of Matthew, chapter 12, and verse 48.
Khan.
So this psychologist says that the basis of human civilization, the most important thing is the family structure. And Christ told blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who your family is. He stretched forth his hand towards his disciples and said, "Behold, my mother and my brethren." Verse 50 says, "For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven." Whatever black, Hispanic, and Native American do the will of my Father. Whatever Israelite that chooses to obey the Most High, the same as my brother and sister and mother. The ISUPK, we are that little sanctuary. We are that safe place for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Trooper Barack Ya'Allah is my brother. He is my family. He does the will of his Father. He follows and obeys Christ. This is my family. And this is the most important thing, according to this woman, this psychologist, to the human civilization. Christ said, "Be a moral people." Morality, integrity. People who don't lie and cheat and steal. People who aren't drunkards. People who aren't drug addicts. Who aren't prostitutes. Christ told that woman at the well, "Go and sin no more." Stop sleeping around with all these different men. Change your life. Be a woman of integrity. Anybody who does this is my brother, my mother, my sister, my brother. This is my family. The people who are righteous. All right. This psychologist goes on to say, the earliest men who lived in caves and forests quickly formed groups or tribes to protect themselves from wild animals. Barack Ya'Allah, can you grab Ecclesiasticus chapter 13?
Wakhan.
We'll start at verse 15. Ecclesiasticus, let me pull that up too. The book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, and we'll start at verse 15. All right, again, this psychologist says, the earliest men who lived in caves and forests quickly formed groups or tribes to protect themselves from wild animals. This is what the Most High had to say to the children of Israel. All right, go ahead and read that, Barack Ya'Allah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
Every beast loveth his like. The lions love the lions. The pigeons love the pigeons. The hyenas love the hyenas. You understand? You go up to Florida today, you're going to see 10 lizards running around together. You're going to see the alligators together. You're going to see the insects together. Cats walking around alleys with different cats. Stray dogs walking around with stray dogs. Horses walking around with horses. The sheep walking around with sheep. Every beast loveth his like. You go to the zoo and you put a bunch of animals together, they got to separate the animals. They put the lions together with the lions and they love each other. They can live amongst each other. They're not at war with each other. They put the elephants together, the monkeys together. You drive through a zoo in Toronto, you're going to see all the monkeys jump on your car, dwelling together, working together. They loveth their like. Read that verse again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 13, verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
And every man loveth his neighbor. This psychologist said that the earliest men who lived in caves and forests quickly formed groups or tribes to protect themselves. This is a psychologist saying that this is how people survived. That these men of different tribes would gather together and work together so they could protect themselves. Form tribes so they could protect themselves. The Most High said, every man loveth his neighbor. It's natural for the Chinese to work with the Chinese. It's natural for the Koreans to work with the Koreans. It's natural for the Europeans to work with the Europeans, the Africans with the Africans. But for some reason, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't want to work together. For some reason, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans can't get along. I don't hear the Europeans saying white on white crime. I don't hear the Asians saying yellow on yellow crime. I don't hear East Indians saying brown on brown crime. But for some reason, Blacks have black on black crime. For some reason, we have an issue loving each other. We have an issue coming together. We want to form the Blood versus the Crips. We want to form these different gangs and war with each other. Rather than go to war against the people that are oppressing us. You see Russia on the border of the Ukrainians today. The Ukrainians are saying they better not cross that border. They better not send armed soldiers across our border. Or the Russians are going to have hell to pay. They're ready for war. They're ready for battle. Ukrainians are saying, don't mess with our people. We're going to come together and protect ourselves. We're going to unite our family and protect ourselves. For some reason, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't want to unite. We got Black women saying, I'm done dating Black men. I'll never marry a Black man. Black men saying, I'll never marry a sister. Never marry a Black woman. There's no unity amongst our people. The only unity we have as our people is inside the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Where Blacks and Hispanics unite. All right, let's keep reading.
In verse 16. All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like.
It's a natural thing for a man to cleave to his like. This is a natural part of life. Just to see dolphins swimming with other dolphins. That is a natural part of life. To see pigeons walking around with other pigeons. It's a natural thing for the children of Israel to be unified, to cleave to their like. That is a natural thing. Keep reading.
Verse 17. What fellowship had the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly.
What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? Do you know the answer to that question, Brock Yalla?
Khan.
Khan, what's that?
One is prey, the other is predator.
Khan, damn right. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? The answer is nothing. One is prey, one's a predator. The wolf is out to destroy the lamb. And this is the problem with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Can you grab Ezekiel 34 and verse 8, Baba Kasha?
Khan.
This is the problem with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, is that we don't understand that we have no fellowship with the wolves. We have no fellowship with the lions. We have no fellowship with the East Indians. We don't have any fellowship with the Asians. We don't have any fellowship with our oppressor. Our oppressor is getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day. We don't have any fellowship with that man. We shouldn't have any fellowship with his holidays or with these people. We've lost our protection. Go ahead and read that when you got it, Brock Yalla.
Khan. And Salaki, I had a question also.
Khan, go ahead.
So what pagan holiday is Valentine's Day associated with?
Khan, we're going to get into that just a little bit. Valentine's Day has to do with Lupercalia. All right. Lupercalia. There's a story of Romulus and Remus. All right. They were were they twin brothers? I can't remember if they were twin brothers or brothers. Loosely paraphrasing the story. But it has to do with a story about two men, Romulus and Remus, who had some type of love for each other. There was a story about when they were young and how they suckled on a wolf, some kind of wolf. They were suckling the milk from this wolf so they could live. If I could wrap it all up for you, it's a lot of Greek and Roman, or I should say Roman mythology, Roman stories, loosely based on different fantasy stories and mythological stories, also loosely based on war stories. All right. But to sum it up, it has to do with their culture, the Roman culture, some of the things that they worship and they practice. For this class, I'm not going to get too heavy into the history of Valentine's Day, but definitely look up Lupercalia. All right, look up Lupercalia, and that is what Valentine's Day has to do with.
Khan.
All right, you're going to hear this brought out every year come Valentine's Day. Brothers are going to be speaking about Lupercalia. Definitely check out General Mahaiman's class. He has an excellent breakdown on the history of Valentine's Day. All right, you can get into where the heart comes from. All right, all the different sexual deviation. that has to do surrounding this holiday and festival, where I think it was women would put I think women would put either goat's blood or some type of blood on them to say that they're basically ready to have sex. And that's where the whole red thing came from surrounding Valentine's Day. These women would put blood on themselves, letting men know amongst Rome that they were basically ready and willing to lay down with. You understand? You look at the shape of the heart. The heart has to do with the image of a woman's butt. Just a whole bunch of sexual deviation,
Wakan.
right? But definitely look up Lupercalia. Lupercalia is what Valentine's Day is about. Like most things in the Roman culture, it comes down to the worship of some false god. All right. But yeah, to answer your question, it's Lupercalia. And it's just basically, it's just the culture of another nation. It's the culture and the practices of another nation that has nothing to do with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And when you get into the culture of the Romans and the history of the Romans and the Greeks, all the things they believed in and they practiced, a lot of the things are just laughable. Has to do with their different fertility goddesses and different gods of harvest. Because when these other nations look at the earth and they look at the world, they look at a rock and they give praise to a rock. They look at the water and they give praise to the water. They'll see their vegetation growing because they got a lot of rain, and they'll come up with some rain goddess. They'll start worshiping the rain. That's what these other nations do. But the children of Israel, we understand that all these things come from the Most High. The Most High created all these things, and we are to worship Him, not the things that He created. You understand?
Wakan.
God, Most High in Christ.
Tuwada
Any other questions on that?
So far, no, that's it so far.
God, no sir. So let's jump to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 34 and verse 8.
Wakan, this is Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 8. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field.
This is the problem with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They do not know the Bible. They do not understand the Bible. They've never been taught the Bible. They don't understand who they are. They don't understand all these other nations that are out to devour them. Ezekiel said, my people have become a prey to every beast of the field. Many times throughout the scriptures, the children of Israel are referred to as sheep. You look at sheep, when sheep do not have a shepherd, they are very, what's the word? They're in harm of danger. Sheep need somebody to protect them. If a wolf comes to attack a sheep, the sheep's just going to lay over and die. It doesn't know how to fight back or protect itself. And that is what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are. We don't know how to protect ourselves. We become sheep to every beast of the field. We become prey to every beast of the field. The lions are devouring us. The hyenas are devouring us. The wolves are devouring us. The snakes are devouring us. We as a people don't have our protection. It says in the book of Jeremiah that our gates are in languish. The children of Israel's gates are in languish. Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, their defense system is in languish. We don't have proper leadership. We don't have people that are going to protect us from all the prey of the field, from all these different beasts that are put out to devour us. We don't have the laws, statutes, and commandments. Christ said that he was the good shepherd. Christ is the man who's able to shepherd blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Show them how to protect themselves from all the different prey of the field. Christ said, I sent you as sheep amongst wolves. Therefore be wise. We need Christ's protection. We need the Most High's protection. Otherwise, these beasts are going to keep devouring us. You understand? Ecclesiasticus, where were we? Ecclesiasticus 13 and verse 17 said, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. This is the comparison. What we're missing as a people is good morals, integrity, guidelines, order, discipline, militancy, rules. The Most High said, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. Christ said, my brothers and my sisters, my family are those that do the will of the Father. You want protection, you need to get in the I.S.U.P.K. Gather with righteous brothers and sisters. Righteous people who do the will of the Father. People who will die, who are willing and ready to die, serving the Most High. When you pick up that Quran says, the Quran gives a stipulation saying, if you're hungry, only if you're really hungry, and you don't have anything else to eat, then it's okay to eat pork. That's what the Quran says. When you read through the book of Maccabees, you see blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who said, we would rather die than eat pork. We would rather die than give up these laws, statutes, and commandments. Our integrity is everything. We'll die serving the Most High, and we'll be rewarded in the next life. That's the spirit that we need as a people. To be willing to die with our righteousness. Die for our integrity. Stand up and serve our God no matter what. All right, let's keep reading through this article. The psychologist goes on to say, research into anthropological remains has shown the life of primitive humans who were cave dwellers. Forming herds was one of the basic security and safety needs of humans, as by forming a large family, they could attack or defend themselves against wild animals, warn each other of natural disasters, gather food, and raise children in a community, almost like modern day societies. When are Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans going to gather together? When are they going to be sick of all the destruction going on in their communities? When are we going to be sick enough to say, we're going to serve and obey our God no matter what? We're not going to make excuses. But we're going to gather together like it says in Zephaniah 2:1. Gather together, O nation not desired. To love our people the way the Most High says. If you could, Rocky Allah, grab 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3.
Khan.
We need to unite as a people. This psychologist understands this, and many other different psychologists who study civilizations. They study societies. They study the family unit and the family structure. They understand that the most important thing to a civilization is the family unit. Right? Keep going. She says, thus the earliest families were tribes. Oh, slack. We read through that. She says, however, this tribal system of forming large communities possibly did not last long, and some humans wanted a different kind of life and migrated to places where there were no communities or tribes. I'll read that again. This psychologist says, however, this tribal system of forming large communities possibly did not last, and some humans wanted a different kind of life and migrated to places where there were no communities or tribes. You understand? Go ahead and read that, Brock.
Khan, 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
This is the love of God. This psychologist is saying that these people were not able to sustain. These people were not able to sustain their communities because people wanted a different kind of life. These people didn't know how to unite. These people didn't know how to walk together. The Most High said, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? Imagine me and Baraki Allah, we drive up, we go to a mall, we get to the plaza, we come out the car, and Baraki Allah says, hey, I want to go to this store and buy some video games. And I say, nah, let's go to this other store and buy some clothes. All of a sudden, we're divided. So Baraki Allah decides, well, I'm going to go this way, and you can go that way. You understand? This psychologist said, some humans wanted a different kind of life and migrated to places where there were no communities or tribes. This is the fall of civilizations. People not agreeing on what it is they're trying to achieve. Not being in agreement in what it is they want. This is why you see in North and South Central America, the liberals fighting against the conservatives. Democrats versus the Republicans. You see people disagreeing on how their country should be run, on how their kingdom should be run. And throughout history, this is the fall of every great civilization, where the people are divided against each other, where the people are storming the White House, where the people are storming the Capitol. The people don't agree with each other. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we don't have that. You got some blacks who are conservatives. You got some Hispanics that are liberals. North Americans that are Republicans. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we don't have any unity. Don't have any direction. We don't know which way to go, which way is right. We don't understand that we're a family and we need to gather together. The only place on earth you find us gathered together is in the I.S.U.P.K. It is the only place on earth where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are gathered together, unified, no schisms, speaking the same thing. Everything Barack Allah thinks, I think. Everything Barack Allah says, I say. We are united, one body, one baptism, one faith. I.S.U.P.K is the only place on earth where we are united. We don't want different things. We want rulership. We want authority. We want the ability to make decisions, decide how the earth should be ran, what's okay and what's not okay. The head of every man is Christ, and the head of Christ is the Most High. That is who we follow. And those are who our brothers, our sisters, our mother, and our father are. Those who do the will of the Father. That's our tribe. That's our family. She goes on to read, or she goes on to say, some others may have simply weighed the disadvantages of a group life as insurmountable, and reasons could be possible jealousy regarding mates. She says one of the reasons that these communities and civilizations could not stay together was because of jealousy regarding mates. Brock Allah, could you grab Isaiah 4 and verse 1?
Chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man.
It says, in
saying,
that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. The only thing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need to do is pick up this Bible and follow it. Get in the I.S.U.P.K. Remember the days of old. Remember how your ancestors lived. Remember the laws, statutes, and commandments that were used to govern us as a people, that gave us our authority, our righteousness, our integrity. Remember the success we had as a people. Remember what King David was able to do. Remember what Moses was able to do. Remember what all the righteous men of old, the priests and prophets, were able to do, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. The Roman culture would have you believe that it's a good thing for one man to be with one woman. That's the way that it is. February 14th is going to come up. Buy chocolates for your woman. Go out and buy some candy and flowers for your woman. Do everything you can for this one woman. Follow the culture of the Romans. Follow their gods. Follow their ways of life. That's what's good for you. And then you got to wake up and ask yourself, well, why is 60% of every marriage ending in divorce? How come I'm a black man with 4 different kids, paying child support, living in a car, living in a motel? I don't have money to pay my own bills, but I'm sending money to this woman to give money to my kids. Why did our relationship fail? If monogamy is such a good thing, why did our relationship fail? If signing this oppressor's marriage contract was such a good thing, why did it fail? Why did I have to sit in a courtroom for 4 years with the longest battle of my life? Destroying my kid's life, destroying my family. If his way of life is so good for me, why isn't it working? I said I'd love you till death do us part. I said I would never leave you through sickness and through health. But for some reason, 2 years in, I was left. I know a story of a brother. He was married to this girl. They had 2 kids. Kid was 5 years old, 4 years old. They've been married 6, 7 years. He woke up one day and his wife was just gone. A suitcase and some clothes out of one of their dressers were just gone. Had no idea where she went, what happened to her. She pops back up 4 years later and says she was miserable. Pops back up 4 years later, says, I moved to Jamaica to go be with another man. These are some of the stories that we hear about in the world. This oppressor's way of life is so good for us. Why are we so destroyed as a people? This is something we got to ask ourselves. Again, this psychologist says, what did she say? Some others may have simply weighed the disadvantages of a group life is insurmountable, and reasons could be possible jealousy regarding mates. Read that from the top, Barak Yalla.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man.
God. It is a righteous thing. It is a normal thing amongst blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans for men to have multiple wives. That's normal. How many black households are destroyed because the woman said, oh, my husband cheated on me? Every Benjamite household, you got a stepbrother and a stepsister the same age as you. living in another country. How many households are destroyed because these men are just naturally going around sleeping with other women, marrying other women? How many men went to war against each other over women? What our ancestors understood was brotherhood. Isaiah said, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Barak Ya'Allah, picture this scenario. Me and you go out to a club, and this fine ass woman comes up to us, or let's say she comes up to me, and she wants to be with me. She starts hitting on me, and you're sitting beside me, and you're like, "Yo, I'm really feeling this girl. I really like this girl." What would you do if you understood that in this day, 7 women shall cleave to one man? How would you feel about that woman?
Well, I feel like there would be another woman for me, right?
That's it. That's it. The Most High says that there's a simplicity in understanding these scriptures. There's so much brotherhood in these scriptures that we overlook, that we don't understand as a people. Imagine this fine-ass woman comes through this club, and you're looking at this girl like, yo, I'm really feeling this girl. And I see this girl, and I'm like, oh, I'm really feeling this girl too. And I turn and look at you, Brock Al, and say, screw this woman. There's another 100 women that we can have.
Karawakan.
Why am I going to lose my brother over this woman? Why am I going to fight my brother over this woman? There's a million other bad women out there that I can have. Polygamy would solve so many issues in our community. Think about the women. Every woman growing up, every woman that she hated in her life, that she couldn't stand, she fought with that sister over another man. She went to war against another sister over another man. Like this psychologist said, over jealousy. Imagine a world where sisters didn't fight with other sisters over men. That world is in the I.S.U.P.K. I see sisters all over in the I.S.U.P.K. getting along with each other. Sisters from Toronto calling sisters in Montreal, getting along with each other. Sisters in California getting along with sisters in New York. Because they're not worried about fighting each other over a man. For the first time in their life, they got to learn to share. They got to learn to get along. They got to learn to humble down and understand that this thing that my husband is doing is okay. And whatever he does, no matter what, he is never going to leave me. He is always going to protect me. He is always going to love me. and teach me and guide me. The sisters in the I.S.U.P.K, they do not fight with each other. They have nothing to fight over. Because there's nothing wrong with a man having multiple wives. Keep reading.
saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be
Read.
called by thy name to take away our reproach.
Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. These sisters today, they are self-sufficient. These sisters today, they pay their own bills. They make their own money. They're not looking for a man to give them all the money in the world and buy them clothes and buy them this and buy them that. The only thing these women are looking for is for a man to teach them to be righteous. That is what's important to these women. That no matter what, that they can be called a daughter of Zion. That the Most High can look at them and be proud of who they are. That's what's important to a woman. That's the type of woman that every man in the I.S.U.P.K should be looking to marry. For a woman who's willing to change her ways, to follow her husband and learn to be righteous. These civilizations that were destroyed in times past, they didn't have brotherhood. They didn't have sisterhood. They didn't have the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is why Moses said that this would be your wisdom in the sight of the nations. These other nations would look at us as a wise and understanding people because we're civilized, because we have laws, rules, order, judgment, just balances, just weights, just judgment, righteous judgment. All right, let's keep reading on this article. But let's see, for time's sake, let's try to skim down a bit. She says, some others may have simply weighed the disadvantages of a group life as insurmountable, and reasons could be possible: jealousy regarding mates, dissatisfaction in sharing food, shelter, and apathy for the rules of a community life. Brock, let's grab one more verse on this article, then we'll move forward. Can you grab Leviticus 19? Leviticus 19 and verse 9. All right. Again, this psychologist, quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Jules Charm, Yahweh Shamar, Lathan Bashim Shai. All right. Shalom, sis. The water for tuning in. All right. There's some Passover information in the comment section. Check that out. Make sure you do your best to make it down to Cocoa Beach, Florida this year. All right. We got the sign-in links in the chat. Hit the sign-in links. And before the class ends, we'll make sure we get the sign-up links. All right. Again, shalom, sis. The water for tuning in. Brock, if you could, Leviticus 19 and verse 9.
Khan, this is Leviticus chapter 19, verse 9. And when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest.
Keep reading.
Verse 10. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard.
Khan. So Moses was telling the children of Israel, right? When you're harvesting your land, don't harvest everything. You understand? All those grapes that are just left there, they fall off the branches, and they're just at the side. Just leave them be. You don't have to be greedy. Every little grape and every little vegetable, you can leave some of those things. Leave them on the side. Keep reading.
Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Most High said, leave them for the poor and the stranger. This psychologist said that these civilizations, they ended because of jealousy and dissatisfaction in sharing food. You know how many poor people we have in North and South Central America? Are you telling me that LeBron James couldn't go buy 100 acres of land and employ some farmers to gather food for all the poor? You're telling me, what's that man's name? Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, all these different brothers couldn't gather together and come up with something to feed all the poor? Look at all the riches in Israel. You know how much Jay-Z is worth? Beyonce, Kanye West, Drake, whatever new rappers they have out today. Do you know how much wealth is inside the nation of Israel? And you're telling me the tribe of Issachar can't eat bananas? Can't eat some fresh plantain? Most I said, leave some food for the poor. Stop being so damn greedy. Christ said, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Just loosely paraphrasing. The love of money is money is the root of all evil. We have so much wealth amongst the nation of Israel. We are such a talented people. So many of our people are going to go down in history for all their great inventions, their great minds, their great talents. Floyd Mayweather, he changed the face of boxing. And we don't have enough money to feed the poor of Israel. This is what destroys a civilization. Pay your tithes to the I.S.U.P.K and watch what we do with the money. We got food drives all over the nation. They were just out in Indianapolis feeding the poor. Out in Yonkers feeding the poor. Houston feeding the poor. Look up I.S.U.P.K's trip to Acuna, Mexico. Feeding the tribe of Levi, the Haitians. A whole nation of people. Greed will destroy a civilization. And greed has destroyed the nation of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Psychologists understand this. But we as a people, we don't understand. Brachial, if you could hold Exodus chapter 1 and verse 7 for me, Baba Kishar.
Wakan.
So, just for time's sake, we're going to run through this article. Again, she just goes on to speak on. What I'll do is I'll share this article in the chat. If you want to take a look at it for yourself, you can. This is a psychologist speaking on some of the things on a family structure, the importance of a family structure. She goes on to speak about sex, marriage, the different things that make up a family unit, affection, love. She says the basic human need of safety and security gave way to the fulfillment of more emotional needs of love and sharing through family systems, and humans developed attachment and affection, and these were constantly reinforced with rewards of love, love-making, or promise of love. She says, family systems are built on the foundation of love, attachment, loyalty, trust, which in turn fulfills safety and status, needs, and thus psychology is an important ingredient in family interactions. All right. She goes on to say some of the important things in a family unit. I understand Baraka Allah read earlier, 1 John 5 and 3. For this is love, that we keep the commandments, and the commandments are not grievous. Commandments of the Most High are not a grievous thing. It's not something that's hard to do. It's something that's easily understood. The importance of being truthful, the importance of loyalty, the importance of not abandoning one another, being long-suffering, forbearing one another, forgiving one another, being patient, slow to anger, quick to forgive, quick to hear our brothers and sisters, to resolve issues with one another, to communicate well with one another. These are the things that Christ was teaching us. These commandments are good for us. They are not a grievous thing. Most High tells you, don't be a drug dealer. Selling drugs to your people is not a good thing. It destroys families. It destroys people. These laws, statutes, and commandments are good for us. And they're good for our family unit. They're good for our family structure. Right? She says, I'm going to skip through some stuff really quick. Brachial, you're holding Exodus chapter 1 and verse 7.
Wakan.
She says, this branch also studies how our family patterns and relationships closely affect our interactions in the outside world and how we behave in the community, society, and the world. This branch of psychology is also related closely to issues of existentialism, and phenomenology in philosophy, as with the family. Man does not feel completely lonely or isolated in the world as existentialism would claim, but rather develop a sense of belongingness, and through family, humans first relate to the outside world. The family is thus the stepping stone, the first stage on which we begin our learning about the world. This is also an important part of child development studies. In addition to the series of Freud, Maslow, Lewin, and Sartre, the theories of Erikson, in which the stages of man from birth to death show why humans form relationships, could well explain the dynamics of family interactions and relationships. On the one hand, we study changing family patterns, and in some cases, comparisons are drawn within cultural studies, as families in different cultures could have different patterns and structures. For example, large families are still prevalent in Eastern societies, although this is becoming almost extinct in Western, more individualistic societies. Again, she says, for example, large families are still prevalent in Eastern societies, although this is becoming almost extinct in Western, more individualistic societies. You understand? When your oppressor tells you that monogamy is a good thing, your oppressor is trying to limit how big your family is. When your oppressor tells you that you should abort your baby, my body, my choice, he is limiting how big the family unit is. Telling you that your career is more important than a family. That what you do and what you achieve in life, all the money you make, is more important than a family. That you shouldn't have kids because you can't afford to have kids. All the different things that your oppressor tells you to limit your family is not a good thing for you. All right? Raquel, go ahead and read that verse when you got it.
Khan, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them.
There's a time where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were fruitful and multiplied. You look at the statistics today, the most dangerous place for a black baby is in the womb of a black mother. We got hundreds of babies being murdered every day because a woman is saying, my body, my choice. Because a woman wants to run around and sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with and not have any responsibilities that come with it. We're supposed to remember the days of old. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans supposed to look at what our ancestors did. Look at how they succeeded. Look at how they grew exceeding and mighty. They were having babies. They were all about the family structure, all about the family unit, all about the growth of a nation. Keep reading.
Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
Read.
Verse 9. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
This king that rose up in Egypt said, the children of Israel are multiplying. They are growing large. They're becoming more mightier than we are. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them,
He
Let's
said, come on, let us deal wisely with them. What does Psalms 83 say? That these nations have gathered together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They have said, come. Let us deal wisely with the nation of Israel. I'm just paraphrasing. These other nations conspire against the children of Israel to destroy us. Conspire against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to destroy us. These beasts of the field prey on the children of Israel because we don't have our wisdom. We don't have our laws. We don't have our statutes and commandments. We don't understand what's good for us. Ecclesiastes says there's no new thing under the sun. The people that were dealing with us 5,000 years ago, trying to destroy us how many thousands of years ago, they're trying to destroy us today. Those same spirits are on this earth, trying to destroy the nation of Israel. Keep reading.
lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
This king said we got to deal wisely with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, or they're going to multiply and destroy us. They're going to multiply and join with our enemies. They're going to become too great and mighty, and they're going to destroy this kingdom that we've built. Verse 11, keep reading.
Verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
So Pharaoh sent taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. Pharaoh sent that boss over you to say, Salaki Brakyala, if you're late one more day, if you're a minute late one more day, you're in danger of losing your job.
Khan.
Oh, you were 5 minutes late for your lunch break? I'm not sure this job is still going to be here for you. Hey, Brakyala, we need you to work 3 hours late tonight. We got some stuff that we got to get done. Oh, you can't stay tonight? Oh, okay. I might have to find somebody who can stay these extra hours. Read that verse again.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
This is what Pharaoh did. He sent taskmasters, people to micromanage us, to tell us, Barak Ya'Allah, when you go home after work, you don't got time to spend with your wife and your kids. You gotta eat right, get to bed properly so that you can be here for 7 a.m. tomorrow. Pharaoh sent taskmasters to afflict the children of Israel. Keep reading.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
And blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans built Toronto, built Montreal, built Vancouver, built New York City, built Florida, California, Arizona, Sacramento, all these different great cities. Pharaoh did this to destroy the children of Israel. Keep reading.
Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
And the more Pharaoh afflicted the children of Israel, the more they grew, the more they multiplied. This is what we got to do as a people. We got to fix our family structure, our family unit. The nation of Israel was built off of a man having multiple wives. I think he had 12 sons and one daughter? 13 sons, one daughter? It later became the nation of Israel. It later became the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. We got to throw out our oppressors' ways. What does buying candy and chocolates and flowers on February 14th have anything to do with building the family unit, building the family structure? You can buy your woman a gift 365 days of the year. You can wake up every morning and tell your wife how beautiful she is. You can tell your woman all the beautiful things that she does. Let her know, I appreciate all the cleaning you did in the house today. I appreciate what you did with the kids today. I appreciate you going out to work, making some money for this household. I appreciate when you braid my hair. Thank you for making my wardrobe, making me some clothes and a garment. Thank you for going out and shopping and buying me some shoes and bed sheets and pillows and whatever I need to be comfortable in my house. We need to show appreciation to our women every day. This is what builds a strong relationship. Making sure that you make love to your woman. You do your duties of marriage. You stay connected to your woman. Anytime that your wife's in danger, you make sure you protect that sister. You saw some Black Lives Matter protesting last year, or whatever black group. You had some 12-year-old girls carrying rifles. You had some women standing in the front lines with some body armor, some bulletproof vests, some AR-15s. And following that nonsense, you're probably the same person that's going to buy flowers for that woman come February 14th. Valentine's Day isn't going to fix our community. Following our oppressor's way of life isn't going to fix our community. Right? But let's run through a couple scriptures. And then we'll end up the class. All right. If you could, Brock, y'all, grab John 14 and verse 15.
Wakan. John chapter 14, verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments.
Come. Christ said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You love the Most High, keep the commandments. You love Christ, keep the commandments. You love your brothers and sisters, keep the commandments. This is love. Love isn't a picture of some cartoonish looking art of some woman's butt that's red. The heart they show today. You ever see a heart? A heart looks nothing like what they make it look like. Go look up a doctor, do surgery, and pull out a heart. That is what a heart looks like. You understand? The shape and symbolism that they use today to depict a heart and as some symbol of love is disgusting. And following the ways of our oppressor, it is disgusting. I read an article earlier where it said the Valentine's Day of 2020, people, they hit a record of people spending the most amount of money on Valentine's Day ever. And it was quickly followed by COVID-19 shutting everything down. The Most High sees the wickedness of this earth. The following year had the worst amount of sales on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Most High shut Valentine's Day down. The Most High said that I don't hear your prayers. Your prayers are an abomination to me. Those people that turn their ear away from the law, from keeping the commandments. The Most High doesn't hear sinners' prayers. The Most High is disgusted at the things going on in the world today. You want to love your brothers, you want to love your sisters, keep the commandments. You claim to love God and know God and have a personal relationship with Jesus, keep the commandments. Do what it is he tells you to do. Love your brothers, love your sisters. Don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Don't worship other gods. It tells you in the book of Leviticus chapter 23 what different holidays or high holy days you should be celebrating. The Sabbath, the Passover. Purim's coming up on February 14th. Most I want you to be celebrating Purim. Doesn't want you celebrating Valentine's Day. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans getting ready to do some kind of sexual deviancy on February 14th. That is a day for the Most High. That's a day to remember your ancestors. To remember your history, your culture, your nation. We got to understand that. Brock Ella, grab Galatians 5, verse 21.
Wakan.
All right. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 54 says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and towards the remnant of his children which he shall leave. This broken family unit is a curse from the Most High. You grew up, you didn't know your father. That is a curse from the Most High. Grew up in a broken household. You got aunts and uncles who are in a broken household, cousins who grew up in a broken household. These are curses from the Most High. These are curses for not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Not being brotherly and sisterly to our people. Go ahead and read that, Brakel.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 21. Envyings, murders.
Salakia, go up one verse.
Khan. Galatians chapter 5, verse 20. Idolatry, witchcraft.
Salakia. Jump up to verse 18.
Khan. Galatians chapter 5, verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are supposed to be led by the Spirit to understand what it is, to understand the purpose behind these laws, to understand how it is we are to keep them. Christ said, if you lust after another man's wife, you have committed adultery already. Yeah, we shouldn't be looking at another man's wife. We shouldn't be looking at another man's possession. Because if we do, next you know, we're going to be texting that sister. We're going to be sending that sister private messages. One day that sister's going to give you a call and say, oh, my husband did this, my husband did that. He did this and he did that. Can I come over for a drink? You mind if I just come over for half hour? Can't believe my husband did this, my husband did that. Next you know, you're sleeping with another man's wife. We got to be led by the Spirit. Because without that, we're not going to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Keep reading.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
Adultery. How many brothers are going to go out sleeping with another man's wife February 14th? How many brothers are going to go out and just pray on some sister? Game this sister up saying, oh, your husband doesn't do that. He doesn't do this for you, doesn't do that for you. I'm here for you. Get that woman a gift. Buy that woman a whole bunch of chocolates, flowers. Pay for a hotel. Buy the finest bottles of wine. Next you know, you're sleeping with another man's wife. Adultery. These things are disgusting. These are the works of the flesh. You understand? The works of the flesh are, you look at a fish, right? You go out fishing. You put that fishing rod out. You put some bait at the end of the line, right? That fish comes and grabs the bait. So I don't know if Salakia Braka, I believe you've gone fishing a couple times.
Khan.
I remember one time I went fishing. I swore I caught the same fish 10 times in a row. You understand? That's what fish do. Right? They follow their flesh. That's what animals do. They follow their flesh. They're hungry, they hunt their food. They get horny, they have sex with their women. You ever see a mosquito land on your shoulder? And it's just sitting there having sex with another mosquito.
That's a lot.
Mosquitoes do not care. Flies do not care. A fly will hump on the dinner table in front of 20 other people. A dog will hump another dog in front of 30 other people. Animals do not care. Tilaki, you were gonna say something, Brakel?
La, I don't.
Okay, come on. You understand? Those are the works of the flesh. You can't be a brother or sister and just go out and have sex with another woman just because you want to have sex with her. The works of the flesh are disgusting. That's what Paul told you to go to war with. Not to wrestle against flesh and blood. Not to fight with your family. But to go to war against the principalities. Go to war against Valentine's Day. Go to war against your flesh. All the things that you desire to do that go against the Most High. Keep reading.
Fornication.
Fornication. All different types of sexual deviancies. Fornication is men laying with men, women laying with women, women sleeping with, doing some kind of sexual acts with animals. All the different sexual acts that the Most High told us not to do, that is fornication. And you better believe people are getting ready to do all different types of sexual deviancies come February 14th. Keep reading.
Uncleanness.
Read.
Lasciviousness.
Read.
Lasciviousness. Verse 20. Idolatry.
Idolatry, worshiping other gods, worshiping Lupercalia, worshiping Valentine's Day. Keep reading.
Witchcraft.
Read.
Hatred.
Read.
Variance.
Keep going.
Emulations.
Read.
Wrath.
Read.
Strife.
Finish out the verse.
Seditions. Heresies.
All these things go against the Most High. All of these are works of the flesh. A Christian pastor would have you believe that the laws are done away with. You don't have to do anything. You're saved by grace. All you got to do is believe in Jesus, and he'll forgive you for everything you've done. Just believe in him, and you can keep doing all the things you've been doing. The apostles are telling you that you can't be doing the things that are the work of the flesh. You can't be an adulterer, a fornicator. You can't be a drug dealer, an idolater. Emulations, wrath, strife, fighting with everybody. Keep reading.
Verse 21. Envyings.
Envyings. Mosai said not to covet anything your neighbor has. Don't covet his ass, his ox, his house, his wife, his cars, his clothes. Don't envy anything your brother has. Don't envy his woman. Keep reading.
Murders.
Read.
Drunkenness.
How many people are going to get drunk on February 14th? Going to wake up the next day and not even know who they laid down with. These things are disgusting. They're the works of the flesh. Keep reading.
Revelings.
Revelings. Too much partying. Gonna go around to some sex party on February 14th. Where somebody's walking around with a whole bunch of ecstasy. Whole bunch of drugs. Passing it around to everybody. Gonna have different, what they call swingers. People sharing their husbands, sharing their wives. All sorts of disgusting things. All sorts of disgusting partying. This is what happens on Valentine's Day. Keep reading.
And such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Read that last part again.
of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Listen, you better listen to the priests and prophets in the I.S.U.P.K. You do these things, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. You destroy blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this family unit, this family structure, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. Read that last part one more time.
That they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
You will not get the kingdom. Christ told his disciples, go not into the way of the Gentiles. And when you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Christ is coming back. Christ is coming back to rule this earth. And every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. Everybody will be put under authority of Christ and his rulership. Christ and his kingdom. Anybody who goes and celebrates Valentine's Day, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. You don't learn to love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the way that Christ told you, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. If you don't go to war against the things that your flesh desires, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. You will not be a part of this rulership. You understand? So with that, we're going to end Tuesday night brother class. Let's clap it up. All right, these are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves with the world. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months to which a brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of Purim coming up on February 14th. To any brothers who want to join the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarf. With that said, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim, which means stand. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatham, Yad Yamatah, Sar. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alathan Bashem El Shad, Yad Yamatah. Class dismissed. All right, make sure you hit those sign out links before the class ends. I'll get them up in the chat right now. All right, make sure you hit those sign in links. And make sure you check out that link to the Lord's Passover. All right, pay your fees, do your best to get down to Cocoa Beach, Florida. And with that, Israel, we say shalom.
Boy. Go ahead. Boy. Look, I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother way, boy. Tell him get the fuck off the beach, boy. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us here breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us here breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat, boy. This shit is too easy. I'm on gold, but they don't believe me. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming Vinny, 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 Vinny. Hear them devils screaming out bloody murder. I'm about to close the curtain. On my grind, bitch, I'm working. Sorry, all them lies, it ain't working. Them niggas weak, they be churching. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. When he cross the line, I'm gonna back up and I'ma hit his ass with his bike.